Welcome to the Ambassador's Lounge. My name's Daphne Newton, and I am the owner, operator, and founder of the brand Ambassador. Now, I was going to bring you all this content about surgeries and everything else in such a professional way. But the thing is, that's not me. I'm professional, but the whole videos and setting it up, the best that I can do, production throughout all these lights. So I've got all these lights around me and it's getting pretty hot. So I'm going to be bringing you some content, some videos, but it's going to have a little bit of my spin on things with a lot of my personality in it because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just not that chick, right? I am very much the most casual, relaxed person in a setting. So this is the lounge. And inside of the lounge, what do we have? An occasional cocktail. So when we go through this journey, we're going to go through this journey together, and I'm going to give you the highs and lows of plastic surgery, physicians, drainages, and all things. You can follow me on Facebook. My page is The Brand Ambassador. You can follow me on Instagram, Brand Ambassador. You can also follow me on YouTube, but that's the Ambassador's Lounge. You can also follow me on TikTok. Don't laugh. I'm learning to make these kooky videos, and most of the time, what you see is what you get because this is my personality in real life. So I'm going to be your virtual bestie. I'm also going to be your virtual nurse. So you can always reach out to me. You can subscribe to my YouTube. You can always shoot me an inbox message. You can always leave comments at the end of this video. Let me know what other topics you'd like me to discuss. And occasionally you'll find me going live to answer those questions that you may have. Feel free to invite your friends to join the Ambassador Lounge group on Facebook. So with that being said, let's get started. If you see me looking over, that's me trying to look at my notes, because if not, I can't keep everything in my head straight. Step 1, step 2, step 3. That's for the professionals. So because I'm not one of those type of professionals, I have notes. Plus, I'm a little seasoned, so I need to just make sure that I can remember and stay on task. So here we go. Red flags when we choose a plastic surgeon. Did you not think that there were some red flags? Oh my goodness, yes there are. So let me tell you this. Not all plastic surgeons who perform cosmetic surgery are equally yoked. There's a huge difference in what they do, what the results are, how they do the surgery, and sometimes the vast difference could be just the age and when they went to school and when they learned these skills, and if they're keeping up with the cutting edge of what's happening in surgery and what the outcomes are, all right? So it's important that you choose the right surgeon that meets your unique needs and your unique desires when you're going in. Don't just pick someone just because they happen to be like super popular and you want to go where everybody else is going. Sometimes you need to step outside of that. Choose someone that is for you, that will do and deliver the results that you're looking for, all right? So first thing we want to look at is your surgeon board certified? Yeah, that makes a huge difference because every surgeon is not a board certified plastic surgeon. It's very important to pick that. I mean, any doctor can do a surgery. Any surgeon can do whatever surgery. They have ER surgeons. They have trauma surgeons. They have all kinds of surgeons. But does that mean that I want my gynecologist to perform because they can deliver a baby? Probably not. So you want to find a surgeon that absolutely is board certified. Why? Because number one, they received an important accreditation from the American Society, make sure I say it's right, American Society of Plastic Surgeons. So you kind of a big deal, right? The other thing is when they've gone through their training, they are highly skilled and highly trained surgeons that went through at least 6 years of surgical training, at least, with 2 of those 6 years focused on just plastic surgery. It's pretty important because the cardiologist, what's his focus on? the heart. Plastic surgeons, their focus, all things beauty and all things that encompass those things beautiful. So that's what you want to look for. In order to get that certification, they got to pass exams, they got to pass oral examinations on all aspects of surgery to make sure that this surgeon is ready to perform at the optimal level. So choose wisely and do your research. Don't be caught out there with a surgeon that his best work is doing veneers. You want somebody customized to you, right? So now let's talk about the lack of before and after pictures. Isn't it weird to see someone in this day and age that does surgery that doesn't have before and after photos? Like, I would want to see that. I would want to know, like, what do the people look like? And let me tell you a little tidbit too. When I look for a plastic surgeon, if I had to actually stop, shop, and look for one, I would kind of look for one that has worked on people who look like me. I'm really hesitant, kind of like getting my hair done. I'm really hesitant about going to people whose only work is on people who look like them. If all of your work is done on Caucasian women, Caucasian men, nothing wrong with that, but I'm not Caucasian. So I would probably want somebody that has at least done work on brown girls. Just saying. I would probably want someone who's done something on Latinas. So at least I know that you know how to work with different skin. You know, black women, we keloid. So I'd want to know that you have experience in that. Not just everybody is blonde hair, blue eyes, living in Beverly Hills with the perfect size, the perfect weight, perfect frame, and these are all your pictures. That's not me, and it's not inclusive of me. So I can't choose that kind of surgeon. So be mindful when you're choosing a surgeon and you're looking at pictures, make sure the pictures are reflective of all of their experiences. And it should be a variety of pictures. It shouldn't be just, I don't know, stock photos of the perfect person and everybody looks the same. My God, that's the first red flag for me for anything. I don't look for a hairstylist that has only done Caucasian hair or Asian hair, because that's not what I'm coming to the table with. So you want to make sure they meet you right where you are, right? So that's pretty important. So with that being said, let's have a sip of the cocktail that's in the lounge. And y'all go ahead and get yourselves a cocktail too, in case you need one while you're sitting back listening and you're enjoying the lounge. So the next thing you want to look for is they don't have any questions. If anybody's ever had a doctor's appointment, the physician has tons of questions. Nurses, we have tons of questions because we want to get to know you. We want to know everything there is to know about you. We want to know how you take care of yourself. Who's at home with you? Do you feel safe while you're at home? Do you have any children? What is your age? What do you do for work? Well, imagine going to see a surgeon and they have no questions for you. They don't want to ask you a thing about you. They don't want to see any pictures with your results. They don't want to see what your goals are. All they're interested in is selling you on using them. That's a red flag. If you're more interested in the spam likely of me, which is just, you know, those telemarketers, it says spam likely on your phone. They constantly call, and you don't even know what they're calling about. They just want to sell you a product or whatever. Well, I don't really want my surgeon to be selling me on a surgery. I've probably already decided that I want surgery, so I don't need to be sold on surgery. At this point, you're doing an interview. They should be ready to answer all kinds of questions. They should be telling you everything there is to know about them, and they should be listening and asking you what is there to know about you, what brought you here, what your goals are, what you want done, whether what you want done is even reasonable, feasible. Can it be done in one surgery? I mean, I would be leery if I went in with no prior knowledge and I told my surgeon, hey, I want a breast lift, I want a tummy tuck, and I want a BBL, and I want my tummy tuck drainless, I would be leery if the surgeon said, sure, we can do that. Why? Because my next question is, how the hell am I asleep? I mean, really, how the hell am I asleep? If I'm doing my breast and my butt, which way am I going to sleep? And I got a tummy tuck. How is this going to work out for me? I would be leery with that. Those are the kind of things that you want to make sure they're asking. They just aren't just going to do it just because, hey, I've got enough money to pay. At some point, you got to know all money's not good money, and everything can't be done at one time, right? Some things you're going to have to come back for, and they should be prepared to answer those kind of questions. Which leaves me to the next thing. Since we talked about them not having any questions for you, which is unbelievable anyway. Their prices are crazy. Their prices are like Groupon prices. Who has surgery and only pays the cheapest amount possible? Like, I've never known anybody that had their breasts done and it was only $1,500. I mean, come on, give me a break. I've never known anyone who had a mommy makeover and everything altogether was $3,000. In my mind, I'm thinking one of two things. Some of the makeover didn't happen. You cut some huge corners, and I'm probably gonna need that piece of my body that you took out. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need that. Like, if you just got me a mommy makeover and I wake up and I don't need nipples, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need that nipple later on. I'm just saying. I mean, that might be my most sensitive spot. I'm just saying I'm gonna need some stuff that you may have taken out. So you wanna make sure that, guess what? The price is not dirt cheap. Why? Because it's expensive to be me. Like maintaining all of this, and don't let this look right now fool you, y'all, because I'm in the lounge. It's expensive to be a woman. No woman has ever said, it's pretty cheap being me. Like, I don't need to have my hair done, my nails done. I don't need a mani-pedi. I don't need a massage. Said no woman ever. No woman. No woman ever said on the first date, take me to the cheapest place we got around here because that's what I want to enjoy. Said no woman. We all want the best, the finest, and let's be clear, if it costs a little bit more, we're looking at it a little bit longer. That's what you want to do. If it's cheap for a reason, because let me tell you, you get what you pay for. And cheap people pay so much more. And let me tell you how. You find this surgeon. You fall absolutely in love with not the surgeon, not the skill, the price. Well, by the time you're done and you have recovered, you got a BBL. Well, one cheek looks beautifully round, high profile. You can stack a remote on that backside. The other cheek, slightly deflated. Keep in mind now, with a BBL, you lose 40 to 60% of volume. Some of the fat's gonna have to die, it just is. Problem is, now that you've gotten this done and you've got one high profile cheek and one flat tire, now you gotta go pay to get a revision done. Well, let me tell you the hardest part about getting a revision. Finding another surgeon that wants to touch someone else's work. That's almost like inheriting a problem. Who wants that? Who wants to inherit someone else's problem to try to satisfy a patient that wasn't satisfied in the first place? You're going to pay so much more, and you're going to have a harder time finding a surgeon that's going to want to take on somebody else's issue, because then it's going to be a problem after a problem. And for the most part, most surgeons will say, I don't want to take that. I don't even want to take the risk, and it's not worth it to them in the end. So it should be worth it to you to pay and not look at price, because clearly, if we're price shopping, you can't afford it. Same thing, if you're price shopping and you can't afford the recovery, you can't afford the surgery. Because really and truly, let me tell you, in surgery, you got all the machines, all the equipment, all the people on deck. Nothing's going to happen in surgery. The crap happens after surgery. Trust me, as a nurse, I work the OR. Nothing happens in the OR. We take care of you. You've got oxygen. We've got monitors. You've got everything in the OR to keep you stable. Once you come out of the OR, well, this is where you run into all the problems because you haven't put into play your recovery plan. Like, who would have surgery and not have a recovery plan? The recovery plan's like, who's going to take care of me when I get out? Well, you want somebody qualified. If not with you at that time, you at least want someone that's going to be with you, family, friend, that has some knowledge on if something goes wrong, what does it look like? So that's another thing to consider, is being able to afford the entirety of what you're having done because you're worth it. Next, let's talk about surgeons building a practice versus surgeons that move all the time. These same people who move all the time, these surgeons, they're just like people who get evicted. They move in the middle of the night. 1 minute they're living here, the next minute they're over here, and they've probably moved 5 or 6 times in 2 to 3 years. This is insane. Like, who would move an entire surgical practice all that many times in 2 to 3 years? That's a lot of moving. And if any of you have moved, once you move and you finally settle into your home and you have everything where you like it, the next move has to be your better move, whether you're living in an apartment, condo, townhouse, a home. The next move is always better than the place you left, correct? Because nobody ever, I've never moved in my home and said, you know what, I just got here. I'm looking for another house in 6 months. If I move into another house in 6 months after purchasing the home that I'm in, I hit the lottery. And now I'm moving into a mansion. That's the only thing that's going to drive me out. But all things being equal, this surgeon is hopping around place to place. They're not building a reputation in their community. They must be running from something. That should be a red flag to you of why are they constantly moving and offering deep discounts at the same time? Because you have to pick a struggle. You're either going to move or your price is going to be low. You can't have both. But if you have both, you can't have me as one of your patients, right? So that's the other thing that we're going to start looking at. So after that, guess what they do? And I'm going to need a sip for this too. And don't get me wrong, kind of need a sip for the whole thing. But this is huge for you. There's no risk. That's what they told you. They promised you that there's no risk involved. Well, I have prepped dozens upon dozens upon dozens of patients going in for surgery, whether it is cancer, whether it is facial surgery, whatever surgery it is, cardiac surgery. Guess what they always do? They sign a consent, and in that consent, there is a phrase that all patients have to sign. That phrase is assumption of risk. What does that mean to you? Because I have never heard of that before, says everybody. Guess what that means? Because nurses, we know what that means. Physicians, we all know what that means. It means the patient assumes some responsibility if something goes wrong. So that's for all of you who say, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. No, daggone well, you did all of it. You got drunk, you smoked, and you probably have high on weed, pills, whatever it is that your cocktail is. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. That simple phrase of assumption of risk means if in the event that we find something that has happened as a result of something that you failed to disclose or did, that is your fault, and you will assume everything that goes wrong after that. So if your results are not what you want them to be because you didn't tell your surgeon, you know, I'm on certain medications, or I recreationally love edibles. They don't judge anyway. They don't care. It's just for your own safety. If you don't tell them that and something happens, you assume the risk for that. So that's kind of their way to get out of assuming the risk for everything. Because people, in general, we don't tell the doctors everything. Why? Because we think that they're going to judge us. We don't tell the nurses everything because they think, we're going to judge you. And really and truly, we don't. We're not. And when we do judge you, it's really not about that anyway. It's about we're judging you because maybe, and I've had this happen to me, patient says, I don't drink. You smell like you floated a keg, sir. Or, I don't smoke weed. Ma'am, that cloud that's around you, I'm high right now just being in the room with you. Those are the things we judge. We don't judge you for what you do. We judge you for the lies you tell. So just be honest, because it behooves you later on, because it helps us protect you and it puts you in a safer position. Anything after that, don't care. We just want quality care and we want a good outcome for you. The goal is that you're happy with your results. You're happy with what you paid for. I mean, that's just what happens. You don't want to see anybody dissatisfied with a service, but you're dissatisfied because maybe you didn't disclose everything. So you don't want a surgeon that's going to say, there's not a risk with this. I've never had a problem. I've never had a complaint. Those are lies you tell. There's no way that everybody that you've touched is satisfied, because if they were, people don't do round 2, round 3, round 4, okay? If they're perfectly satisfied. You might do a round 2 because you want the volume back in the BBL because you, like I said, you lose 40 to 60% of the fat. But all things being equal, people don't continue to keep going back and back and back because they're satisfied. So you have to keep that in mind. There is a risk. You're having major surgery. You're going to be put under anesthesia. They're going to ask you, do you have any allergies to anesthesia? Well, lady, if I've never had anesthesia before, my best answer is, we'll find out. But I'm going to tell you everything about me because I chose a surgeon that asked me enough questions about me, allergies, and everything else that I'm going to minimize that assumption of risk that I'm taking. And that's what you should be doing. So make sure that you're not choosing a surgeon who's telling you there's no risk to this surgery. There's a risk to every surgery. And that is where you want them to be honest about your care and the delivery of your care. So once we get past that and we've examined all these other things, the last thing that you need to make sure, well, maybe not the last thing, because there's a couple of other things I want to touch on, but the last major thing is the reviews. You know, I never believe reviews when everything is great. Like, people can't live in Disneyland every day. Somebody has to have a complaint. Like, I don't like Disneyland. So everybody who wonders, and don't judge me because I don't, but everybody who goes to Disneyland cannot possibly be thrilled. Let me tell you why you can't be thrilled. Because somebody's going to say the lines are too long. I brought the kids, and the kids wanted to buy everything under the sun, and every stuffed animal, every trinket, every toy, everything they wanted. The water was $25. Those are the things that make people say, I don't know if I like it. Well, same thing with the surgeon. Everybody can't be happy. You can't be happy. Hell, people weren't all happy with Jesus. So that should tell you right off the bat, everybody can't be satisfied with this surgeon. That would be insane. So if they don't have some bad reviews, I'm leery about those great surgeons too, because everything can't be wonderful in the land of surgery. But I will never choose a surgeon who has more negative reviews than positive reviews. Like, where do they do this? Whatever it is that they're doing to generate these negative reviews, and keep in mind now, happy people never write a review. I swear to God. People who are thrilled with their service never, ever, ever write a review. You'll get like a handful, 2, 3, excuse me, y'all, I gotta make an adjustment right here because I'm slipping. You'll get 1 or 2, but the mass amount of people who write a review are writing a review because I'm pissed. I'm pissed and I want something done and I didn't get what I expected, something went horribly wrong, whatever it is, you don't want that surgeon. It makes for bad business when everybody has something negative to say. So when you do your Google search, whatever research, word of mouth or whatever, and you find more people that have more negative than positive, don't walk, run, because that's not where you want to go, okay? So let me take another sip because my mouth is a little dry. So now that we've covered those major red flags for you, let's talk about some smaller flags. Some smaller flags are they do too many surgeries in a day. You know, you have an average number of people that you and a surgeon are capable of seeing. And let me tell you this, and this is like the behind the scenes of what goes on. You have the people in the front, your coordinators, schedulers, whatever you want to call them. They're scheduling all kinds of surgeries, everybody, all the time, blah, 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 over and over and over. Those aren't the people who are going to operate on you. Those are the people who are just making sure that I still have a job and my check is going to be huge because I'm working, 70 hours a week. But your surgeon shouldn't be doing 30 surgeries a day. Like, that's insane. 30 surgeries a day? And keep in mind, the surgeon got up at 3. First surgery is scheduled to begin at 5. You're doing 30 in a day, every day. This surgeon is exhausted. So one of two things, because people always say, well, I want to be the first one to have the surgery. Well, if he's doing that many surgeries, it doesn't matter if you're the first one or the last one because he's still tired from the day before. So if you're getting a surgeon that's done 30 surgeries in the course of the day and you're coming in for your first surgery at 5 a.m., the last one might have ended at 11. So at 11 p.m. when the last one ended and you're coming in at 5, this person only had like 4 hours of sleep, and I really don't want you touching me on 4 hours of sleep because, like I said, I'm probably going to need that part that you just cut off. Like, that might be that nipple I need. So you want to make sure that you're not doing all of them. And if you're one of those people that's like, my surgery got moved from 9 a.m. to 12 to 4 to midnight, I'm not having anybody operate on me at midnight, especially when they ask you not to eat hours before the surgery. So I haven't eaten all day, so now I'm hangry, and I'm sitting here, and you're coming in to operate on me at midnight. At this point, you are beyond exhausted. Now you're going to rush through this whole thing, and I'm really not going to get the results I wanted. So you want to be leery of that, and you may want to ask your surgeon, how many surgeries do you do on any given day? The number should be reasonable. I mean, for the time that the office is open and the surgical center is open, it should be a reasonable number. I mean, reasonable, a surgeon can do 10, 12, sometimes they do 5, 6, depending on the surgery they're performing and the length of time that they're going to be in the OR. But 30 in the course of a day is a lot to do for any surgeon on any given day, because the thing is, the next day they're right back at it and they haven't rested. So that's what you don't want. You also want to make sure that if they say they're doing that many surgeries, read what you're signing before you sign it. Is this surgeon actually going to be the one performing? Because what you forgot, didn't think about, or maybe failed to realize is surgeons that are in a surgical group means I don't have to be the one to do the surgery. One of my surgical partners can do it. You want to make sure if this is the surgeon that you want to do the surgery, before you sign, make sure that it's that surgeon that's doing the surgery for you, not I want Dr. Smith, come to find out Dr. Taylor is doing the surgery. That may not be what you want. Not to say that Dr. Taylor, and that's a fictional name, not to say that Dr. Taylor is not a good physician or not a good surgeon, I should say, but that's not who you wanted. So you want to make sure that if you want a particular surgeon, that particular surgeon's name is on your paperwork, right? So some other things to consider: they don't have hospital privileges at your area hospitals. Why is that a problem? Well, let me tell you why. What's the word people say? Cis. And everybody's not cis. I'm telling you now. I'm your virtual bestie. Everybody's not cis. But I'm just going to say for generalities. Friend, if someone is operating on me and something goes wrong and you don't have privileges at the local hospital, guess what? You can't come to that hospital to take care of me and fix the problem that may have been created by you or as a result of you. So that means if they have to send you out 911 to an emergency room and you're admitted to a hospital, the relationship you have with your surgeon is over. You now have a relationship with the new hospital staff. And guess what you run into again? A new surgeon who is not board certified plastic surgeon. You're probably going to get a general surgeon to fix the problem, but they're only going to fix to stabilize, not give you what you wanted from your original plastic surgeon, because the same problem exists. Who wants to touch an existing problem? Like, the best that you can hope for is they're just here to save your life, to get you stable and to get you out. Any revisions, any fixes, they're going to say, go back to where you came from. And guess what the risk is? That surgeon that you chose may say, because they have a right to, I don't want to touch you anymore. So now you have to go find someone else, because it only takes one time to be sent out for that surgeon to say, don't come back here, go somewhere else, because the risk is too great for them. Whether it is or whether it isn't, doesn't really matter. But imagine that happening to you. You end up going to the emergency room, they stabilize you, and all of a sudden, you still want your surgery. You still want the revision or whatever it is that you were having done, and they say, you have to go somewhere else. Well, that's a hurtful thing. A couple of things probably happened before that. It's probably issues that you didn't look at, like the cost, or if they were board certified, whatever it may be, but you're going to run into that major problem. So stay clear, choose wisely, and ask that question. Do you have hospital privileges at the local hospitals? And don't just say local hospitals, name the hospitals, because they'll say, yeah, but what's local to them and local to you might not be the same. So their area hospital should be within the radius of where you're actually having the surgery done, at whatever surgical center it may be. So the next thing that you want to kind of take a look at, does your surgeon only focus on like weight loss? Like, I didn't ask you that. If I'm coming in for a BBL and lipo 360, I ain't ask you about my weight. You either can work with my BMI or you can't. I didn't ask you about, like, well, you got to go and you got to lose 150 pounds. Sir, I'm not going to be able to do that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm having this surgery, so I can get snatched and have my waist small with the weight that I currently am at. So you want to make sure that this is not their only focus, is like weight loss. Because if I wanted weight loss, that's a different surgery. And I would have chosen a weight loss surgeon. I'm choosing a plastic surgeon or a cosmetic surgeon, not a weight loss surgeon. So be mindful when you start looking at that. If their main focus is lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, I ain't asked you about my weight. I asked you about seeing if these little breasts here can sit high all the way up underneath my neck. Don't worry about what that scale says. That's what you want to take a look at, and be careful. So now we kind of get to some of the niceties or the pleasantries or the customer service of it all. And this is where shit jumped off and got real. So when shit gets real, this is where the real comes from. You only talk to the coordinator. You don't talk to nobody else but the daggone coordinator. And all hail to the coordinators out there who work extensively hard and have 1,000 people that they have to get schedules for and get labs for and all that. But I don't just want to talk to you. I want to talk to the one that's going to make that first incision. It's kind of a big deal to me. You only talk to the coordinator. And then when you talk to the coordinator is rude. Is that what I'm paying for? I mean, I can understand you had a hard day, you had a busy day, everything's not going your way. Okay, that's great. But I only got but this much understanding left in me because the way that my money spins, I'm going to need you to have that attitude at home. I don't want a rude coordinator. I don't want a coordinator who doesn't respond back to me because I have questions regarding my surgery. I have questions that maybe the physician can answer because keep in mind now, when you're going in, I shouldn't say physicians, I should say surgeon, but you get a whole lot of information, like rapid fire information at one time. Everything is coming at you. A lot of times, patients get what they call white coat syndrome. You're sitting, you just listen, and you're bobbleheading. And then, never fails. Happens to me all the time. Soon as the doctor leaves the room, patient has 10,000 more questions. And they're like, well, what about this and what about this? And in my head, I'm thinking, the doctor was just in here. Why didn't you ask this person that same question? So guess what I do? Because at that point, they're talking about surgery. I call the doctor back and I say, excuse me, they have some more questions for you. Not that I can't answer, but that's not my scope because I'm not going to be the one to wield the knife for the first incision. So guess who you need to speak to? The surgeon. The coordinator should not be the person that's answering all those questions because they're not in the in the OR. They're not going to be there when you're actually under anesthesia getting the first incision made. You want to be able to talk to them. And they shouldn't be rude. I mean, at the end of the day, they should be like people who work at Publix. Really, really nice, ready to take you where you need to be. Not like, I love Publix, but not like a flea market or like Walmart. Not any shade to anybody that loves a Walmart. But I don't want to be paying all this money to be told, hey, it's over there. Or it's over there. I want that same type of Chick-fil-A, Publix experience. Hi, how you doing? Let me walk you to. Let me show you where it is. Do you need help to your car? That's the kind of service you want. You don't really want a coordinator that's absolutely nasty to you. I mean, it's uncalled for and you're paying. And you're paying a lot of money, so you should have at least some measure of respect when they deal with you and talk to you. That's just common courtesy. It is what it is, and you have every right to ask for that. Don't feel as if I can't ask because the surgery will get canceled. Well, if surgery is going to get canceled because I don't like someone being rude to me, that's probably not the place I want to have surgery anyway. Just saying. Then, this is another little point of contention for me. Excuse me while I sit. I really don't want to meet my surgeon the day that I'm having surgery. I'm just saying. I mean, I can negotiate a lot of things. I can be flexible on a lot of things. But one thing I just cannot be flexible on, I don't want to have surgery. And I just met my surgeon, like right now. Like I need to see you beforehand. I need to have a conversation with you beforehand. I don't want to have everything done through the coordinator, and I have never met my surgeon. I don't want my pre-op appointment to be another coordinator. Like, I'm trying to understand, like, does the surgeon even exist? What's happening? Am I never going to meet the surgeon? I don't want to meet you at the bedside and find out, hi, my name is, and I'm going to be the one operating on you. Because my question is, well, where have you been? Because you took my money and cashed my check. I should have at least had the courtesy of meeting you ahead of time. I'm just saying. Those are the things that you kind of want to say, is this really the person I want? Because number one, what kind of bedside care do you have if all I'm doing is meeting you, like right now, and you give me a cut on me? I needed to have developed a relationship with you prior to, so I can see if our personalities fall in line. I don't want the coordinator to tell you what it is that I want or what I said to the coordinator about my surgery. I actually want to have that discussion with the physician, with the surgeon. So that's another little point of contention with me. I need to meet the person who's going to slice me open and put me back together in a better, firmer, snatched up body, right? Just saying. Then, this is the very last thing that you should make sure that you look at. Well, I said that before, so let me just pull back on that before I get to that last thing. Don't deal with the surgeon who, how do I put this? All they do is talk about a blood transfusion after lipo. Like, that's not normal at all. You took out too much blood. Now I got blood loss and I need to have it replaced. I'm all for an aggressive surgeon, but don't be so aggressive that you have depleted me of the blood that I need. You remember when I told you I'm going to need that later on? I'm going to need that. Not only do I need my nipple later on, just, for my own personal satisfaction, but I'm going to need that extra 2 pints of blood that you just took out from being so aggressive. I'm going to need that. So you want to make sure that during your talk with your surgeon, they don't talk about constantly, well, after your lipo, you're going to need a transfusion. I should not need a transfusion. Like, people have surgeries every day. They don't always have a blood transfusion. Something happens when they need a blood transfusion, which is blood loss during the surgery. So I don't want you to operate if every operation you have turns into blood transfusion. I don't even want you to have me prepped to donate my own blood because you anticipate me losing blood during the surgery. That's really not what I expected to happen, and that's not what I prepped for. So make sure that that's not a conversation that you guys are constantly having. With your lipo, you're going to need blood. My response would be, with my lipo, don't take out so much that I need it, because I don't want to pay that extra fee for that. I mean, I love my life. Can I come out of it on top? Now we get to the biggest red flag of them all. I mean, I'm talking about the flag that will stop a race, because in every arena, everybody gets stopped for safety. And side note, I also educate too, so I will stop students when safety is an issue. They have too many bodies. You Google their name, and the number of deaths come up. You know that's a problem. Like, there's no reason I should be Googling your name, and before I even see how many times you've moved or what's going on, your name runs parallel to all these deaths. That's a problem. A really good problem. And listen, you could have a surgeon that works for a group. Not part of the group, works for the group, but as soon as you Google that surgeon, the group comes up with all these deaths. Maybe the deaths weren't as a result of your particular surgeon, but I kind of don't want that following me. That's like bad mojo. I'm looking up this doctor. I think he's a wonderful doctor. Dr. Smith is great, everything. Let me go. I see the results. Let me Google it. As soon as I Google it, 568 deaths linked to this. No, ma'am. I'm not going to be able to do it. Because, see, your numbers are piling up in the wrong direction. I need your numbers to pile up in a better direction so that, I don't know, I didn't pay to get casket ready. Like, I don't want to be snatched for the casket. I need to be snatched for the body to deliver in the summertime. I want to be beach bomb ready. I want all those things. But to be snatched for the casket, don't do it, friend. Don't do it. It's never going to be worth it, friend. Between the blood transfusion and the bodies they got on them, don't do it, friend, because it's not a good look. It's not going to be cute. Your family is not going to be happy with it. And at the end of the day, they're all going to say, you didn't even need it. You didn't need to do this. That's what you don't want. So keep that in mind. And happy hunting. Good luck on your journey for plastic surgery. And again, you can follow me on YouTube. You can like my page on Facebook. You can always inbox me with any questions, comments, or concerns. You can also put a little comment at the end of the video with suggestions on what you'd like me to talk about, what you'd like to see. And don't forget, you can always join the Ambassador Lounge group where you can ask questions, where you can leave comments. Keep in mind, let's keep the comments really respectful. We're not going to judge what anybody else is doing, where they've gone, what kind of outcome it is, and I will try to answer the questions best I can. And if I don't know, I got a team of nurses that can get me the right answers and get back to you. In any event, I leave you with this. May the road rise to meet you. And until next time, when we talk about some other aspects of cosmetic surgery, you guys have a good night. Speedy recovery.